Question: what is the most difficult barrier to break in all of track and field? Could it be the 4-minute mile, the barrier that separates the casual distance runner from the world-ranked great? Could it be the sub-13-minute barrier in the 5,000, a benchmark that only the fastest athletes in history have ever attained? Or could it be something even more exclusive, such as the 6-meter pole vault, the 23-meter shot put, or even the 8.5-meter barrier in the long jump? There are many different standards that if an athlete ever hits, they immediately become one of the greatest of all time. And one clear indicator of this type of greatness comes in the 400 meters. And one very special athlete is in pursuit of this historic mark in 2025. Throughout much of 2025, we have seen many great athletes prove their unbeatable status in running. We've seen Faith Kipyegon continue her dominance, breaking world records and setting the stage for her GOAT status. There's Melissa Jefferson in the 100, currently going undefeated and now joining the top 10 all-time in this event. And of course, there has been Kenny Bednarek, who has been looking close to unbeatable in the sprints, as he has also been unbeaten in the Grand Slam circuit. However, we also have to talk about Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, who has been not just unbeatable this season in her events, she has been in a completely different dimension. In both the 400 meters and the 400 meter hurdles, McLaughlin-Levrone has been on another level of speed. For her 400 meter running in the Grand Slam track series, she has won each race by an average of 1.88 seconds, which may not sound like much, but it's basically winning by just over 10 meters. And this really is a massive gap. And almost the exact same thing can be said for her 400 meter hurdle running, as McLaughlin-Levrone has won each race in this event by an average of 1.92 seconds. Even more dominance for this very special runner. Since 2019, some 6 years in the past, McLaughlin has not lost a single 400 hurdles race. She has been so consistent, so dominant, so untouchable, that it's basically a fact at this point that she has reached GOAT status in this event. However, despite her dominance and now her 2-time gold medal status in the Olympics in this hurdle discipline, she has decided to switch things up in 2025, as she has declared herself only in the 400 meters, moving into this year's national championships in the United States. And unlike other years, where she would have an automatic bye into the World Champs due to winning it, she doesn't have that this season in the hurdles, given that she was injured and did not compete in the 2023 World Champs. This means that moving into this year's World Championships, set to take place in Tokyo, Japan, McLaughlin-Levrone is all in on the one-lap event. And based on her previous year's times, her projected improvements, and a few key racing moments in her career, it is very possible that she could join the super exclusive club of running under 48 seconds in the 400 meters. Now, before you head down to the comments section stating that there is no way that McLaughlin-Levrone will throw down a 47, just hear me out a moment. If we take a look at each season where she competed in the US Nationals, she typically ran very quick times in either the 400 hurdles or the Open 400. And if we look at each season dating back to 2021, we can see that she was already running crazy fast in her national champs. But the important thing to remember here is that come either the World Championships or the Olympics that took place a few weeks after the national championships, she somehow hit some ridiculous improvements on the bigger stages. In 2021, at the US Nationals, she set the previous world record at 51.90, and then come the Olympic Games, she broke the world record again at 51.46. Moving into 2022, the exact same thing happened in the 400 hurdles, as she broke the world record in her national championships at 51.41, and then come the World Champs, she dropped a crazy quick time of 50.68. Now, 2023 was a little bit different of a story, as she ran a super impressive 48.74 in the US Nationals, but because of injury, she decided not to run in the Budapest World Championships. And then, as many of you recently remember, 2024 brought us the exact same two-part story, as she broke the world record in the US trials, and then she broke the world record again in the Olympics. For McLaughlin-Levrone, the time between her national championships and the global finals seems to be the opportunity for massive improvements. And if we take her average time drop improvements during these stages since 2021, we reach an expected improvement of 0.48 seconds. What's crazy is that this technically isn't just an expected improvement, this was an expected world record improvement, at least in the 400 hurdles. But for 2025, many are claiming that as long as she stays healthy, McLaughlin is set to do the exact same thing in the 400 meters. And given that she is still learning her way through the open 400, at least in comparison to the 400 hurdles, there is much more room for improvement, so potentially, close to an entire second could drop for McLaughlin-Levrone. And this brings us to the Open 400. Right now, her 400 PB is 48.74, a time that places her at number 12 all time and makes her one of the very few athletes to ever dip under 49 seconds. If she can put forth any kind of improvement similar to what we have seen since 2021, we are likely to see something very impressive, and a new personal record is almost inevitable. And as many people have pointed out, she is agonizingly close to the United States national record of Sonia Richards-Ross, which stands at 48.70. So I'm sure that is not only on her radar, but that is a very key goal, likely something she will go for in the US Nationals. What's been striking this season for McLaughlin is that every time she has touched the track in the 400, she has made solid improvements, as she kicked off her year with a 50.32 time in Kingston, Jamaica, and she's most recently run a 49.43 in the Prefontaine Classic to take first. Early season improvements for McLaughlin-Levrone are nothing new, but the primary race that really will set the stage for her 2025 season is this year's national championships, and if she can run a time right around 48.7, we know that she can drop crazy time off of that personal best, as she again dropped 0.73 seconds in 2022 between the US Nationals and the World Champs. Now, on the all-time list of 400 greats, only two athletes on the women's side have ever gone under 48 seconds. And these two athletes are Jarmila Kratochvílová and also Marita Koch. And Marita Koch's world record is the world record by a huge, huge margin, as it stands at 47.60 seconds. If seeing all of these very realistic improvements weren't already enough, we also have to realize that out of the top 4 fastest women's 400 runners of all time, 2 of them will likely be in the 400 final come the World Champs. And these two athletes are Salwa Eid Nasser from Bahrain and Marilady Polino from the Dominican Republic. And they both are within 0.2 of a second of the 48-second barrier. So, if all things go as expected, and Nasser and Polino and McLaughlin-Levrone are in the finals in Tokyo, I think all of them combined together, we will see something special in the 400 meters at this year's World Championships, and I honestly do believe there is a solid shot at least one of them will break 48. And now I would love to hear from all of you about the time that you think McLaughlin-Levrone will run both at the US Nationals and in the World Championships. Leave your predictions down below, and we'll start a dialogue on who will win this year's World Champs. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, until next time. I'm predicting McLaughlin-Levrone goes 47.91 to win this year's World Champs. You heard it here first.